What's good, Commanders fans? Day 7 at training camp. I did not know that tomorrow night is the Hall of Fame game to kick off preseason. That's crazy, man. I did not know that, but I can't wait. I'm excited. Even for preseason football, I can't wait. I can't wait. So I'm definitely going to watch a little bit of that tomorrow. Still just crazy about Juan Soto being traded. But yeah, football. Let's get to the Commanders. So Curtis Samuel was practicing today, which is definitely I'm not gonna say a rare sighting, but it's a good signing to see him in pads, to see him playing football, participating in drills, not just on 7-on-7 and side field activity on the bike or anything like that, but actual 11-on-11 stuff. So that was encouraging. I just care about week 1 with Curtis. That's all I care about. I don't want to see him playing preseason. I definitely would keep him out of preseason games, and I think that's what they're going to do. I don't think Terry McLaurin's going to play in preseason either. If I had to guess, he might play. I know Jahan's going to play. I'm not going to say I know that Jahan's going to play. If I had to guess, I think Jahan would play. That's just my guess. But I don't see Curtis Samuel playing in preseason. But I'm happy to see him play in practice today. So Ben Stanek says defensive end James Smith-Williams had a hip injury or is on the bike. Tight end John Bates with a calf injury, and safety Troy Apke were on the side field per Ben Standig. John Bates has been out a couple of practices in a row. There might be 4 or 5 or 6 practices in a row that he has not practiced. He's another guy that, I'm just waiting and seeing for the regular season, to be honest. I don't think we'll see if he plays in the preseason. I know it's early. I think the first game is the 13th against the Carolina Panthers, which is definitely fitting for the first game to start off against the Panthers. But yeah, we'll see if he plays in the preseason. Troy Apke, get rest and get ready for special teams for Trapke. Let's see here. Zach Selby says one-on-ones are up. William Jackson III broke up a pass to Terry McLaurin. Ben St. Juste got the better of Jahan Dotson. So just going back and forth one-on-one drills, competing. I like to see that there with William Jackson III and Ben St. Juste competing and getting the better of our wide receivers. That, one-on-ones, you know how those drills go. It's set up for the offense to be successful, but it looks like the defense got the better of those guys. So Zach Selby also says Jahan Dotson had a nice grab while working against William Jackson. Had to reach a little bit behind for the throw, but hold it in before falling to the ground. So catch radius. That's what Jahan Dotson can do. He has that wide catch radius. Even though he's 5'11", he can go up and get it. Carson Wentz can be a little inaccurate. He can be a little up and down, high throws, behind throws, here and there sometimes. So that's what Ron Rivera was really looking for, catch radius from his receivers, including Cole Turner. That's what he was looking for this offseason. David Harrison says Casey Toohill was stood up by Charles Leno, one of the offensive line standouts from yesterday. Not sure how the Bears let this man out of the building. So some high praise for Charles Leno, the left tackle, who's been pretty good for the Commanders. Other than letting Ryan Fitzpatrick get hurt last year, Charles Leno was really solid last year. Zach Selby says Dax Milne makes a catch from Taylor Heineke in 7-on-7 drills. He had one during one-on-ones too. The former 7th rounder is quietly putting together a solid string of practices. So that's good to hear for Dax Milne, because I have him on the outside looking in on the wide receiver spot on the roster. I don't have him in my 53-man projection, if you will. I don't have him making. I have Alex Erickson above him right now, but it's a neck and neck fight, man. I wouldn't sleep on Jaquez Ezzard either, to be honest with you, or even Kyrick McGowan. I like Kyrick McGowan. I think all these guys are battling for that last wide receiver spot after Diami and Cam Sims will be the last 2 to make the roster. The 5 guys we already know: Terry, Curtis, Jahan, Cam Sims, Diami. And then after that, it's like, okay, Dax Milne, Alex Erickson, Jaquez Ezzard, Mark Michelle, Kyrick McGowan. Who out of those guys is going to make the roster? And it's going to come down to punt returning for sure and special teams. So I just have Alex Erickson making it right now. But if Dax Milne keeps impressing like this and makes a couple plays in preseason over Alex Erickson, then Dax Milne, he can take a roster spot. I'm not going to make another joke about Dax Milne, but it's way too easy. But I think he has a legitimate shot at making the roster. I did not like that fumble that he had against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the clutch time where he almost lost the game. That's concerning for me. So ball security for Dax Milne is something he has to work on. Zach Selby says really nice pass breakup from Danny Johnson while working against Alex Erickson. Heineke was the quarterback on the play, so good to hear from Danny Johnson. He played really well at the slot at times last year and is a good special teamer as well. John Kime says wide receiver De'Ami Brown is not practicing today. A couple of guys were out today with veteran days and rest days. Zach Selby says Wentz opens 11-on-11 with a pass to Terry McLaurin, who was wide open for a 15-yard gain. Still building that chemistry. We haven't heard much from Terry McLaurin. We've heard a lot about Jahan Dotson and other guys, but Terry McLaurin, he hasn't had, a crazy camp like he has in the past. Zach Selby says Wentz ended 11 on 11s, completing all 4 of his passes, 1 to Terry McLaurin and 3 to running backs. And then Matt Paris also says, if there is a concern that Carson Wentz wouldn't throw to running backs, that hasn't really been the case so far in camp. He's mixed in J.D. McKissic and Antonio Gibson repeatedly, including in this most recent 7-on-7 session. Also, real quick, Curtis Samuel participated in the 7-on-7. This is why I always provide pushback when people say he doesn't use running backs, and they were like, oh, J.D. McKissic, we shouldn't resign him because Carson Wentz likes to throw to receivers and tight ends. That's not true. You see Boston Scott. You see the connection that Carson Wentz had with Boston Scott in Philly against the Giants every time. You see the connection where he had that pass to Miles Sanders where they beat us in FedEx in 2019. So I just didn't buy that notion that he doesn't pass to running backs. I know there's some stats that show he doesn't use running backs like that, but he definitely uses his running backs if he has to. And if he wants to improve, he has to, check it down. He can't always play hero ball and try to throw a bomb or a home run type play. He's going to have to take what the defense gives him, and J.D. McKissic is going to be perfect for that. Same thing with Antonio Gibson, same thing with Brian Robinson, checking it down to your running back, even Jared Patterson, if he gets some run out there. Nikki Javala says Commanders defensive tackle Deron Payne has a vet day today. He's in uniform, but is watching from the sideline. Matt Paris says William Jackson III is not practicing, and his left knee is wrapped in ice, so I don't know if he got injured or what, or just resting. We'll see. Zach Selby says Curtis Samuel gets targeted on back-to-back plays and makes both catches. Got a little contact on both plays and looked fine. So the thing is that Zach Selby had to say that, not every other receiver. If Terry McLaurin catches something, he gets some contact. He doesn't have to tweet that out really. Or same thing with Jahan Dotson. But with Curtis Samuel, you have to tweet that out and say he got some contact and he looked to be fine. So that just tells you the whole story of what's been going on. But I'm happy to hear that with Curtis Samuel, because if he's out there, man, this offense can really get to another level. That's why I'm excited about him. Zach Selby says, nice throwing catch from Carson Wentz to Jahan Dotson. Quarterbacks have looked pretty sharp in the second half of practice. Ethan Cadell says Carson Wentz with back-to-back completions over the middle to Jahan Dotson and to Cole Turner. The rookie tight end has flashed as a pass catcher throughout camp. So I'm a big fan of Cole Turner. I'm excited to see him on Saturday at the open practice at FedEx. That's the one guy. Him and Jahan are the 2 guys I really want to see out there on the offensive side of the ball for sure. Drew White tore his ACL, so unfortunate news. Praying for a speedy recovery for Drew White, the undrafted linebacker out of Notre Dame. Will Ron Rivera go out there and sign another linebacker? Who knows if Drew White was going to make the roster? We just didn't have we don't have a lot of depth anyway, but Drew White is, he's your first and second down guy, stopping the run. He's similar to David Mayo, where he could play middle linebacker, and he's a strong guy that can take on blocks as well. But it's unfortunate that he tore his ACL. I did want to see him in the preseason and see what he could do out there for the Washington Commanders. Pete Haley says there was some post-whistle activity today that agitated Ron Rivera, specifically during their no-huddle period. Ron knows that live reps in the summer are precious, and he felt like all the jawing and arguing was wasting the team's time. Bobby McCain was also hanging out on the sidelines today, giving guys such as Derek Forrest, Jeremy Reeves, and Percy Butler more reps at safety. That's per Pete Haley. Pete Haley also says Curtis Samuel was involved in 11 on 11s just now. Didn't make a catch, but was used as a decoy on one dump off to J.D. McKissic. De'Ami Brown and William Jackson III are 2 new sideline players today. And that's really it, guys. That's it for day 7. That's about it. So I'm just happy that Curtis Samuel did practice. We'll see if that continues tomorrow. Let's see what he does at the open practice as well. Definitely will keep an eye on him. But like I said, it's all in for week 1. All in for week 1 on Curtis Samuel. Good to hear that the quarterbacks played better today. They said when the pads come on, the offensive line does a better job. They get a better chance to block when the pads come on. So that was a big difference that they talked about today. And the quarterbacks have looked better. Carson Wentz has looked better. So I'm encouraged, because it was a little concerning to hear that he was so erratic in practice. You don't want to get too caught up in it. I know Mike Garafolo from NFL Network was there today. So I know if Carson would have had a bad day, he definitely would have tweeted that out on NFL Network. So, all right, you guys. Hail to the Commanders. Peace.